Flash stumbled out of the gate to the tune of somewhere between 55 and 65 million this opening 3-day weekend, and we're going to break it down. Hey guys, welcome back to Winter Wolf's Den. Winter Wolf here, flying solo today with a Flash movie review. Fair warning, I am going to throw down a couple spoilers in here as I see fit and go down this nice little checklist I got of some of my takes, not my takes, my pluses and minuses, because I actually do have a couple pluses, believe it or not, but you've been warned, spoilers will happen here, and I feel like it's in your best interest to stick around and hear them out anyway, because I don't think you're probably not going to want to plunk down $30 and go check this one out. So, no further ado, let's just jump right into it. You guys probably know this was a take on the Flashpoint arc from back in the day. Barry figures out he can travel back in time if he runs super duper super fast. He does, and despite the warnings of his betters, one of the Batmans and a couple of other people that kind of just warned him that tinkering around with the time stream is kind of a bad idea. He screws things up, creates a paradox, yada, 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 which finds him in the past in a different world the day General Zod arrives on Earth to find Kal-El, Superman, Clark Kent. But unfortunately in that timeline, multiverse, elsewhere, I don't know, they use a metaphor of about a bowl of spaghetti to indicate the time streams being all wonky and whatnot. It's whatever. In that world, sadly, Kal-El never made it to Earth, and General Zod's free to run roughshod because there's nobody around to oppose him. Barry figures out that he's going to put together the Justice League in that time, place, whatever. I'm just going to call it time. And sets about trying to find people that he knows from his world to get the band back together so they can stop Zod's invasion. Trouble comes up when he realizes that Diana's nowhere to be found. Aquaman, nowhere to be found. Superman, obviously not in his world. And the Batman in his world is 80-year-old Michael Keaton and all but retired in every way. So they get into it, and Barry meets younger Barry, 90s Barry, which has its own some laughs, some chuckles. It is what it is. But basically the point of it is they got to get everybody together and kind of stop the Zod thing from happening. Michael Shannon's back as Zod. He didn't miss a beat. He was okay as the stand-in villain. It was a little underwhelming in my opinion, but they were going for something different with this one. They were going for a movie that didn't wind up with like a climactic battle where the good guys were going to win by out-punching the bad guys. So I'll give them a half a point for that. They were trying to do something new, and that was kind of interesting in and of itself. They did try to mix in a healthy little amount of dramatic tension between Barry and his mom, which was also one of the better points of the film. Let me just give you the pluses and minuses. First off, runtime minus, way too long, guys. I don't know what's going on, but lately I feel like everything I get out to the movies to see, whether it's something for me or if it's something for my son who's 7.5 years old, everything's just running way too long. And it wouldn't matter if it was something like The Dark Knight or if it was something, I don't know, from a few years back that actually had a quality to it, that had something I wanted to be a part of. Spider-Verse came out a couple weeks ago, and I didn't mind sitting in there for 2.5 hours. I was entertained by that. I just saw Rise of the Beast last weekend. That was 2 hours 15, 2 and change. That was okay. There's something going on with pacing overall, though, and things are just getting longer, and I don't think they're always earning it, so that's definitely a problem. I'm not really digging it. Nostalgia bait. Both columns for me, it's kind of got like a it's good and it's bad. I like the nostalgia. I like the member berries in a lot of cases, but the problem here is it amounts to nothing. Like, it's cool seeing Michael Keaton as Batman. That's cool. Everybody loved Batman '89. It's kind of proved these things could work on the big screen. But we don't get enough of them, and the parts we do get come like an hour into the movie. And we really just get some flashes of the stuff that made him great. Like, we see the Batmobile, but he doesn't drive it. Like, really, guys? You pull the tarp off of it and nobody turns the engine on? Are you kidding? We do get the Batwing or the Batplane or whatever they called it back in '89. That was pretty cool. He does whip around a lot and kick a lot of ass as Batman. He does the cape flex out bulletproof shield thing. They reference I counted at least 3 of his one-liner kind of things, like the I'm Batman. He does the weight calculation hold on before he uses the grapple to get people up. Now, it actually uses an explosive in that case in this one. So we get a couple of those things. So the nostalgia works, and then it doesn't work. It just you're kind of like, all right, well, there's that. I mentioned the ending earlier. You know, it's cool to see them go the route where there's not a big light shot up into the sky and they've got to deactivate some reactor. That way the portal closes, or it doesn't come down to him being faster than the Reverse Flash, or, you know, or Superman showing up and harder punching General Zod this time. So I got to give him a little credit for that. I'll give him another little bit of credit here, and I mentioned spoilers already. I'll give him a half a point for it. The good guys don't win here in a really dramatic and kind of bittersweet way. Barry learns the hard way that messing with the timeline isn't something he can do, even though he can run fast enough to do it. You know, there's always that butterfly effect that just kind of gets way out of control and changes things for the worse, no matter how badly he wants to change things for the better by saving his mom. So in the end, he's actually the instrument of letting the timeline get back to how it's supposed to go, with allowing his mother to die, you know, at the point in time she was supposed to. So that was kind of okay. Also okay, and this pains me to say because I just don't like him as a human being. I don't care about his pronoun. It doesn't matter. Ezra Miller is a piece of shit in real life. That's hands down. That's not opinion. That's fact. If it was anybody else that didn't have money or certain checkbox protections, this dude would be in a jail cell. Having said that, if this dude stays in movies, he needs to get away from anything that borders on quirky and obnoxious, because it sucks and it's not funny here at all. Getting a double dose of it is mostly trash. However, when they do ratchet it up into some dramatic kind of scenes, especially the stuff with his mom and his dad, like I mentioned, he's actually not bad. He's actually a fairly interesting actor to watch be dramatic in those moments. So I got to give him his credit for that. But the quirky, obnoxious, you know, on the spectrum stuff or whatever it's supposed to be is just weird and cringy. It's obnoxious. I didn't like it. It's abrasive most of the time. I will say this, they do effectively manage it down the stretch a little bit, where you've got the one Barry who's kind of a kid, just getting into college in the 90s, juxtaposed against older Barry, who's, you know, probably in his 30s or whatever he was supposed to be in the movie. They both kind of grow a little bit and become respectively less obnoxious as they go, as they kind of learn from each other and kind of pep talk and pump each other's tires a little bit. So he was okay, but again, the real life stuff is really hard for me to separate actor from acting, or, you know, separate the artist from the real life behavior. But that's, you know, that's on you guys to figure that stuff out. It was an interesting take on time travel. Like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't go by typical Back to the Future rules with, you know, the one timeline, and if you branch off, it creates a new going forward point. This, as they explained it with the bowl of spaghetti analogy, was, you know, when he branches off a timeline, not only does it create a new future, it also retroactively creates a new past. So there was kind of an interesting dynamic to it. It's not your typical Back to the Future Terminator time travel rules. It is more multiversal in its application, which was okay. That brings me to one of my big dislikes about this movie. You can tell that DC thought they probably, as this thing was in development for like 10 years and had 4 or 5 different writers or something like that, and, you know, $350 million spent, they probably thought that they were modifying it in a way to make it at least as good as Spider-Man No Way Home, which I think most people enjoyed. We really dug the cameos from Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. It was nice to see them put the suit back on and kind of kick some ass, you know, along with Tom Holland. That's not what happens here, guys. So this is the big spoiler part here. If you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen any coverage on YouTube from, you know, other bigger channels that covered this a little quicker, the cameos here are completely fucking pointless. Completely. They mattered nothing except for the Michael Keaton one, and they showed you guys that on the Super Bowl ad back in February. So the cameos here are fucking dumb. They basically show you the Flash finds himself, and he called it like the Chrono Bowl or something. He's in a central place and looking elsewhere at all the other alternates, timelines, and things that are happening. And they, depending on your sensitivities, they kind of had some kind of ghoulish, almost maybe tasteless kind of issues with the cameos they showed. They showed old school Superman black and white show George Reeves, who famously did not like the role and sadly took his own life after his career kind of took a tank after he was on the show. He was on the screen for 3 seconds. We got the cameo that was kind of the rumored one with Nicolas Cage, who, as we know, never played Superman. They actually did him up in a full CGI battle scene with some giant CGI spider monster thing, and that was probably the best one. They actually gave him something going on in his scene. The other ones were Christopher Reeve, as the original movie Superman, with original Supergirl, which was kind of cool. Again, it was weird seeing Christopher Reeve, and again, he literally just shows up and he's looking back at Barry. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. None of these cameos kind of cross over into Barry's timeline to help him accomplish anything like the Spider-Man characters did in No Way Home. It was all just like, hey, look, old Superman, yay! Oh, look, old Flash over here, looking at it. He's got his funny hat and he's looking at Barry, and you're like, oh, all right, so that's it. Like, that was the entire point of that, is he just got to see them all. It accounted for nothing. Super disappointing. The other cameo, I guess they changed allegedly, or maybe conspiratorially, last second James Gunn might have changed the ending of the movie to get this one in there. When Barry resets everything and he thinks he's home and he's talking to Bruce Wayne on the phone, Bruce is like, yeah, I'm pulling up right now, don't worry, let's go grab lunch and talk. And fucking, who gets out of the car? He thinks he's talking to Ben Affleck Batman. It's George Clooney Batman. And nobody laughed because it was stupid. And they're like, no. So they thought they were playing the gag, but what they really are telling you is Barry never made it back to his homeworld. Like, he's still somewhere else. But then the post-credits scene is Barry walking with Aquaman, who's drunk and falls into a puddle and takes a nap. So he made it home. He didn't make it home. Who the fuck knows? I don't think the writers know. I think they took 6 different fucking movies and smashed them all together real quick and gave you the Flash. Like, none of the shit makes sense. And the biggest pisser is that they had Henry Cavill had scenes filmed for this shit and they took them out. If that shit's true, no. Fuck DCU going forward. That's tragically bad. So yeah, Aquaman cameo, pointless, didn't do anything. I'm not sure why that was in as an end credit. It's not like it can set anything up going forward. This is supposed to be the end of the line for anything Snyder related, so there shouldn't be Arthur Curry as Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry Aquaman going forward. We still have to watch Aquaman 2 at the end of the year, but that should be dead fish in the water because it doesn't lead to anything. We do get Wonder Woman in here for about a 15-second cameo early on in part of the Better Batman segment, which was Ben Affleck doing some bat cycle shit, running down a criminal who had stolen like a virus. She shows up, she's hot, she's gorgeous, everybody loves her. It's too bad she's not coming back. She has her little back and forth with Bruce, and then there's a lasso of truth joke because it wouldn't be a movie without that, I guess. And then she fucks off for the rest of the movie, doesn't come back. Ben Affleck fucks off the rest of the movie, he doesn't come back. And you're left with Ezra Miller ×2 as he tries to get his powers that he had lost back as an accident in trying to get younger Barry the powers on the day he was supposed to get them so he can go do the Zod thing. And it all just kind of meanders around in a way that doesn't really make it any kind of, I don't know, it's not like it's even fun to watch. Like, visually, I've seen this superhero movie before. He runs big fast and visuals get distorted, which was hilarious because the director comes out and says that they purposely rendered the CGI poorly to give an indication of what it's like for Barry to see while he's moving through the Speed Force, at that kind of velocity. No, dude, your CGI just sucks. Just stop trying to excuse this bullshit. It doesn't look good on you, But, all in all, like, except for a couple of really moving moments between Barry and his mom, I don't know if that's enough to offset some of the negatives that I gave it. I didn't even get into the first 10 minutes of the movie has some really sketchy, tasteless shit with putting babies in danger, really shittily rendered CGI babies. But it was played like a Peacemaker visual joke kind of thing as Barry's trying to save them all in slow motion from falling off a building that's collapsing and then dodging all of the debris and the various perils that are about to fall on the babies as they're falling. And I'm kind of like, all right, all right. And then he, part of it is like he puts a baby in a microwave. That way a falling oxygen tank that's blazing fire doesn't burn the baby. So he puts the baby in a microwave. It's just weird, man. And that's the first 10 minutes of the movie. And it's like, if you get past that, you can get into some of the parts you might enjoy. Keaton was okay. The young lady that played Supergirl was all right. She wasn't overstated. She was, actually kind of reverent to to Kal-El's character, there's no Superman in the movie at all, minus the little cameo flashes at the end that I mentioned. So she was okay. She powered up all right. She looked good in the suit. You know, they didn't really give her a lot to do. She's definitely not a major player in the movie as they cut it on this one. Maybe she was in a different cut, but definitely not here. My one gripe with one of the things they did do with her was Zod reveals to her that they were never really after Kal-El. They were after her the whole time, which was dumb. There was no need for that. I mean, maybe in that timeline, I guess that could have been the point, but I don't know, guys. I think the 55 million is probably where this was going to land. A lot of people are put off by the Ezra Miller stuff. That's fair. That's just how that is. A lot of people are starting to experience shitty superhero movie fatigue, and I say that because whenever there's a good or a decent one, people turn out. People are still turning out for miles. So it's not superhero movie fatigue. It's shitty movie fatigue. That's a thing, and it's coming for Indiana Jones next week. Catch this on HBO Max in a month, because I'm guessing this isn't going to be sticking around long. I easily got tickets in the deluxe theater where I was at, like same day for an evening show, and it wasn't full when I got in there. Your mileage may vary on that, so check your reservation apps before you go out. But I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Like, are we just done with the Snyderverse? Is this a DCEU fond farewell and we're just moving on to the next thing? Is this an Ezra Miller thing? Did you like this movie start to finish? Because I'd love to hear, beyond the dramatics between Ezra Miller and his mom, what moved you about this film in particular? What was your takeaway? Did you enjoy the Keaton stuff that much? I wanted to, but then the car didn't make it out of the fucking driveway and I couldn't. But that's going to be it for me, guys. I'm Winter Wolf. I appreciate you stopping by to hang out for a little bit while I gab about The Flash, and I will see you guys probably Wednesday night for Secret Invasion. King Z and I are going to cover that. And then, of course, we've got a brand new slate of topics coming this week for our live show, Winter's Watch. So like, subscribe, comment, check us out later in the week, and I'll see you in the next one.